Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, splendid. It is Memorial Day. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
How in the world did that happen? It seems like just the other day it was like, beginning of the year. And here we are now, almost done with May and diving right into June. So it doesn't quite seem right, but it is. Coming up later in the program, I'm going to be visiting with Carolyn Tracy. Carolyn is an author, and here's a cool thing. A lot of these authors, their publicist reaches out, but Carolyn reached out. Carolyn is also a John and Heidi Show listener.
Aww.
She said, hey, I was listening to your show. I've got this book, and I'd like to chat with you. I was like, oh, cool. What's the book about? And it's really an interesting book. It's called Welcome to My Haunted Life. And she sees ghosts. And I thought, what a cool day to do an interview with somebody.
That will be interesting.
Yeah, on Memorial Day, where, the day that we all go out to, go to grave sites and stuff. So going to be chatting with her later in the program. A study from Louisiana found that just dieting is as effective for weight loss as dieting plus exercise. So you don't need to do the exercise, just do the diet. We're kind of doing a diet right now.
It's effective for weight loss, but not for your overall health. Your heart needs exercise.
There you go. And Greece is banning all electronic arcade games because of an epidemic of illegal gambling going on in the country. So apparently they have a lot of people that are doing a lot of online gambling. So that's not good. Got some special things happening today. We'll tell you what that is in a bit.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
Well, of course it's Memorial Day. That is going on today. But I also want to tell you about some other things you might not know about today. Like it's Loomis Day today. It's also Mint Julep Day, which I've never had a mint julep. Have you?
I don't, I don't know. I don't think I have.
I would like to try mint julep, so I'm going to have to do that. Maybe I'll do that today. It's also Prayer for Peace Memorial Day today. So got a lot of stuff going on. I'd say probably the most celebrated thing today would be Memorial Day. So today is a good day to do that. Thank you again for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday, the 30th day of May.
Do you like fun t-shirts? Our friends at 80s Tees have a bunch of fun designs from the movies and pop culture. This month, we're giving you a chance to win a $25 credit to buy the t-shirt you like, with designs from Star Wars, Superman, Ghostbusters, Deadpool, and hundreds of others. Sign up to win a $25 credit. Register for free right now at winthisonline.com. We will select 2 winners at the end of this month. You could be one of them, but only if you register at winthisonline.com.
It's true because you heard it on the radio. What if your teacher asked you to cut your hair in the middle of class just because he didn't like what your hair looked like? Would you do it?
Oh, boy.
What if he threatened to have you take your midterms over again if you didn't cut your hair? Would you do it? Well, that's what happened in a classroom. A teacher has been chastised by a human rights group for humiliating his students by making them cut their wild hairstyles. A very conservative teacher handed out scissors to male students and told them to shear off their freaky hair in the middle of the end-of-year exams. The students did so, albeit reluctantly, after they were told that if you don't, you're going to have to retake these exams. You better start cutting immediately. Parents allegedly said the teacher acted as the barber himself for 2 students who stood their ground, but the teacher denies doing that. According to one parent, it was a slight on their dignity and particularly humiliating, end quote. And I agree. If you want to have your hair looking goofy, that's up to you. I don't think anybody should say, you have to do that. Why? Because I'm in charge of this class. Okay, what about my life outside of this class?
Nobody else should be able to tell you how to wear it, but I will say I don't like long hair.
Well, I'm not, it doesn't even say that it was necessarily long. It just says wild hairstyles. So I'm not sure exactly what the wild hairstyles were, but who does this man think he is?
Right, exactly.
To do that? I mean, that is just ridiculous. If you don't like the hair, don't like the hair. But that doesn't mean you could take scissors and start chopping away someone's hair or making them do it. And if they don't, they have to retake their end-of-year exams. That just seems ridiculous to me. Mm-hmm. Does that seem ridiculous to you?
Yeah.
Okay. just want to make sure.
But I don't like those shaggy hairstyles.
Well, I understand that. But if our daughter came home and her hair was chopped off because the teacher didn't like her hair?
There would be.
Okay. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, I understand.
But I bet a lot of those parents were kind of happy because
No, I doubt any of them were happy.
probably been trying to talk to their kid into cutting their hair.
My child was humiliated in front of class. Boy, that makes me happy. I don't think so. I doubt it. All right, that's what happens, kids. Oh, no, that's not. That's the next thing. No, you know this one's true. There you go. Because you heard it on the radio.
John and Heidi.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
and this is your brain on drugs. Cops are there to help, right?
Yes.
Even when you need help because your drug deal goes bad?
Oh, man. How many times are people going to do this?
I don't know. 2 men say they were robbed at gunpoint while trying to buy 20 pounds of marijuana. That sounds like a lot, doesn't it?
That sounds like a whole lot.
I've never bought marijuana, but 20 pounds, I'm thinking like 10 pounds of flour is a huge bag. So 20 pounds of marijuana, that would be a ton of marijuana, wouldn't it? Anyway, they called 911. The sheriff's office at the Daytona Beach, Florida area says the men went to a home on Monday with $12,000 to buy some drugs. Just for an interesting Memorial Week, I think. Anyway, the 2 men at the home jumped them, took their money, and drove off. The would-be buyers jumped in their own car to follow the robbers, then called 911 for help. Now, the other car got away, but the deputies went back to the house where they arrested the guy and charged him with robbery. So, there you go. The guys that actually called 911 got away.
Oh.
Yeah, but the ones that robbed, so the drugs and the money were all taken into custody. So
okay.
I don't know. Just sounds like a really bad plan. But kids,
the guy, he might have gotten away, but he's out his $12,000. So
go.
I think he probably learned his own lesson
you'd hope
as well.
so. Yeah, that is what happens when your brain is on drugs.
John and Heidi.
A young English couple had to be rescued from a moment of duh recently after their car sank in a manure pit during a trip to the country. Craig Aiken took his girlfriend for a drive because she strongly disapproved of his new car. And he was like, no, you should see how nice this car is. It's a great car. You'd love it if you just spent some time in it. So anyway, they went for a ride. She was mad at him for spending so much money on this new car. He was hoping to patch things up during the trip, but then he drove into a giant pile of manure and the car sank up to its windows.
Oh, man.
And the interior was not smelling too hot. Can you imagine how awful that would be?
I bet she was even more upset.
She probably went
that.
from a little bit angry to a whole lot angry. And it says his girlfriend, not ex-girlfriend, so hopefully that all works out.
Wow.
Can you imagine if I went out and spent a bunch of money on a car?
Oh, my gosh.
And then
First of all,
ruined it?
you are not allowed to spend a bunch.
No.
The way you take care of cars is just
No.
awful. I wouldn't let you have a new car.
What do you
of
mean
any
the
kind.
way I take care of
You
cars?
are terrible.
Take good care of them. When I'm done with them, there's nothing left. All right, that's your moment of duh. Your scoop of the day is on the way.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now your scoop of the day. Enjoy the heat this summer because cold weather will bring you more than a chill. It could actually raise your risk of having a heart attack, believe it or not. The results of a recent study show that each 1.8 degree in Fahrenheit reduction in temperature on a single day is associated with about 200 additional heart attacks.
See, I told you we need to move south.
Yeah. Well, move south? No, they're saying, oh, yeah, I guess that is what it is. There you go. I got confused for a second there. Yeah, so you want to be in the cool, not in the heat. No,
you want to be in the heat.
No.
Every reduction in temperature.
colder weather brings a chill, but also... Okay, so the colder it is...
So you need to be where it's warm.
Okay, yeah. See?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to move on.
You say,
Hey,
I don't listen. You weren't listening to yourself.
I just don't understand what I'm talking about. Deputies in Louisiana arrested a 52-year-old woman. They say she jumped up and down naked on top of a car while screaming obscenities in a parking lot at a children's store. What in the world were you doing, Heidi?
What's the problem? It's just a Wednesday.
No. 52-year-old woman, so I know it wasn't you. But we should see what your mom was up to. High pay for CEOs has been attracting a lot of attention. And there are people out there that are mad about these capitalist pigs taking all this money and their average people in the company make so little. Well, Now let's quit focusing on CEOs and let's focus on college presidents.
Oh my gosh, yes, I've been reading some of this.
According to CBS News, the average CEO earns $176,000 a year, which is pretty good, you know. But in academia, college presidents, you can double that. The average college president earns over double what the average CEO earns. They earn over $377,000 on average. And think about how much teachers make. And then think about how much your student loans are. And that should make you so mad.
That should make you furious.
Because, you know, there are people who their lives are, you know, not nearly as fruitful as they could be because they're dragging all this college debt around. We just talked with Jordan Goodman a few weeks ago about that. He's got a book about student loan debt. But all these people that are burdened by college loans, so the president of the college can make $377,000. Doesn't seem right to me. I don't know.
Not at all.
Something about that. Moving right along. And here's, I got to say this, though. I'm a capitalist. If you come up with something and you make a bunch of money and you become wealthy, you should keep that. That's yours. That's good. We live in a country where I think that's awesome. And if you
I have no problems with CEOs making $176,000. That seems right in line with actually because they're in charge of everybody. I don't see a problem with that.
That's where there's been a lot of focus on that. And finally somebody said, wait a minute, you want to look at us. How about you look at that? So there you go. Moving right along. If you want to make a purchase online, say cheese, according to Yahoo News, MasterCard is rolling out some new technology. It will allow you to do some online shopping, and the authentication process is interesting. Their identity is going to be identified, or authenticated rather, with super high-tech power of a selfie.
Okay, you want to try that again in English?
They're going to take a selfie while you're shopping online. That's what they're doing. I think I got some of that. When you shop online using a MasterCard-issued credit card, the merchant will ping you with a text and ask you to verify your identity through a MasterCard Identity Check app. From there, you either pose for a photo or use a fingerprint to verify your identity. Since I had troubles reading that, I'll throw that link on our Facebook page.
So this is to cut down on identity theft.
Yeah, but here's my question. What if I just go and I steal your identity from your Facebook page, and then I steal a selfie from your Facebook page, and I just use that?
Hold a picture up?
I don't know how it would work. I suppose there's probably a way to do it. If I print that photo out big enough and I hold it in front of the camera, I'm just saying, I thought of that in 2 seconds, and I'm not a criminal, so I'm sure they could come up with that. Again, all of the details on that story at facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. Thanks for listening to your Scoop of the Day.
Do you like fun t-shirts? Our friends at 80s Tees have a bunch of fun designs from the movies and pop culture. This month, we're giving you a chance to win a $25 credit to buy the t-shirt you like, with designs from Star Wars, Superman, Ghostbusters, Deadpool, and hundreds of others. Sign up to win a $25 credit. Register for free right now at winthisonline.com. We will select 2 winners at the end of this month. You could be one of them, but only if you register at winthisonline.com.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We got a special guest joining us right now. We have Carolyn Tracy, and she's the author of a book called Welcome to My Haunted Life. Carolyn, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Very good. Now, this is your first book that has been published. How long have you been writing, though? Have you been writing kind of like your whole life?
Yes, I have.
And then you finally said, okay, this one here, this is it. This is the book.
Yes.
And now, what was the inspiration for the book, Welcome to My Haunted Life?
Well, it's based on a true story, my life. And I've told the story tons of times to many friends and family and strangers alike. And they've all been intrigued, so I decided, you know what? I want to get it out there and let everybody know about it. They're not alone.
Yeah.
Other people.
And it's not limited to ghosts and shadow people and other entities, and these are things that you've experienced in your life.
Yes.
I haven't had a chance to read the book, so tell me a little bit about what some of these experiences are like.
Well, they started when I was 6, that I can remember anyway. My first shadow person that I've actually can remember in great detail was the shadow woman, is what I call her. And she's probably the only one that could physically hurt me. But I stopped seeing her when I was about 12 years old. I've also seen a shadow man and one that looks like a Grim Reaper, surprisingly.
Wow.
Yes. So most of them are just ghosts and entities, but there are a few out there that are shadow peoples. But most people call them.
And if, for people that are maybe not familiar with the term shadow people, explain what that is.
A shadow person, well, it's quite different than a ghost. A ghost usually is just kind of something that floats and is kind of transparent. You can see through them, and they don't really mean you too much harm. They just kind of go about their business. A shadow person is something that works in the dark, but it's a different darkness. The darkness that they carry within them is so dark you can't see through them. They are solid, and you can tell the difference between night dark and the shadow person. So they can come into any forms, but the most forms that they come into that most people see are the shadow man, shadow woman, and then the Green Reaper or the cloaked man. They can be very scary if you don't know and haven't experienced them before, and for the most part, they'll leave you alone.
I've never experienced this. Now, is this something that only certain people can see, or it's something that everybody can see, but you just see them once in a while?
It's not. A lot of people don't see shadow people, and I don't know the reasons behind it. I never knew that other people saw shadow people until I was in my late 20s, dealing with it as a child all the way up to my 20s. I just thought I was alone.
Yeah.
So once I heard a radio station long ago in 2004, someone talking about shadow people, and I listened to it, then I did some research on it, and I found out I'm not the only person that sees these shadow people or beings. In fact, there's a lot of them out there, and what's funny is a lot of people will say it's night terrors, but I don't believe that, because how can someone who's never met each other, never spoken to each other, see the same exact three beings,
Well, and I'll bet there are people listening right now that have probably experienced this kind of thing as well, so it is something that, I know it's a thing. I've never seen it myself, but I'm not saying that it doesn't exist just because I haven't seen it. I've never seen a whale either, but I'm not going to say they don't exist, so... I'm reading on here, you said recently you kind of had a chance to learn a little more about your heritage and kind of trace back to Romanian gypsy heritage. Do you feel that maybe that's part of why you can see these?
I believe so. I never really knew that I was a Romanian gypsy till I was like 24, 25, when my real father came around and started telling me that I had gypsy blood, Romanian in me. And so that made me want to research my background a little bit more, and coming to find out that they're more in tune with that. I think maybe because they're more open-minded and they're more, they've got a better connection somehow, somewhere. Again, I don't understand it completely. I'm still learning myself.
Again, visiting right now with Carolyn Tracy, author of a book called Welcome to My Haunted Life. Now, it's based on true stories from your life. Is this written as a novel, or is it written as a journal? I've not yet seen the book, so how is the book laid out?
Well, it's basically each episode is its own chapter. So everything that I've seen, I put into its own chapter. So there is illustrations of what I saw, so that it brings the viewers in a little bit more so that they can relate to the story to what I've actually saw. So they can be like, wow, a lot of people who've already read the book says it's unbelievable. They couldn't believe that I did it. And I'm like, well, try living it.
Yeah.
It's a scary situation when you don't know what's going on, but maybe somebody out there will read the book and say, hey, you know what, this is familiar. At least I'm not alone.
Exactly. Again, Carolyn Tracy, author of the book Welcome to My Haunted Life. Now, do you have other books in mind as far as things that you'd like to do next, or what's up next for Carolyn Tracy?
Absolutely. I am working on another book. It's going to be an actual novel, and it's a fiction. It's going to be called Psycho-in-Law.
Nice. So that'll be kind of interesting.
Yes.
Again, visiting with Carolyn Tracy. Carolyn, where can we find a copy of your book, Welcome to My Haunted Life?
I have it on iTunes Store, and it goes for $9.99. I also have it on Amazon.com.
Very nice. Well, thank you again for taking the time to chat with us. It's been a lot of fun, and I think it's really kind of fun how this interview came together. You actually heard us talking to a different author on the radio and said, hey, I want to reach out and chat with them. So thank you for doing that. That's really cool.
Absolutely, and thank you for having me on.
And thank you for listening as well. Again, our guest today has been Carolyn Tracy, and she is the author of a book called Welcome to My Haunted Life. It's available right now at Amazon, also available through the iTunes Store.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Keystone Treatment Center. Addiction is no laughing matter. Call Keystone Treatment Center toll-free at 1-844-204-1055.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
A doggerel. You know what a doggerel is?
No.
A doggerel is a poem. That is an interesting name for a poem.
All right.
Read me that doggerel. It's so romantic.
Huh.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The Blues Brothers recorded a 1978 hit album called Briefcase Full of Blues. They had a big movie in the early 80s, but they apparently were putting out music before that. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The oldest member of the Beatles is Ringo Starr.
Okay.
I didn't know that. So Ringo is the oldest. I did not know that. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Clement Clark Moore published A Visit from St. Nicholas in what year?
Oh, my gosh. I wouldn't have any idea.
1823. That's a long time ago.
It is. It's still one of my favorites.
It is. Very good. And a final fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The correct name of the town, or the place Bangkok, is not actually called Bangkok. It's called Krongthep. Krongthep. I don't know why we call it Bangkok. Maybe it's just much more fun than saying Krongthep. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by RadioReallyWorks.com. I know you're listening to a podcast, but did you know the John and Heidi Show is also a radio show? And for those of you who have businesses, you should consider using radio to advertise your business. We can even help you create some catchy little jingles or amazing radio ads that will help pull people in. Get all the details or just learn more at RadioReallyWorks.com. That's RadioReallyWorks.com.
John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday. Happy Memorial Day to you, by the way. We've got some interesting stuff here from FHM Magazine. It's called How to Avoid a Clunker. You ready for this?
Sure.
Because this is the time of year when people start traveling quite a bit. There's probably somebody listening right now who's traveling home from their Memorial Day weekend and wanting to get home so they're there in time to go back to work tomorrow. So here's how to avoid a clunker. Oil. Check the oil before you turn the engine on, because once you start the car, you're not going to get an accurate reading to see if the oil's clarity is good. That is from a former Phoenix used car salesman, Stick Bogart. And who couldn't trust Stick Bogart? Radiator cap. It says pull the radiator cap off and turn it upside down. They say if there's white milky substance there, it's possible your head gasket is blown. Next thing on here, how to avoid a clunker, the dipstick. It says with automatic transmissions, if the dipstick smells rusty or burnt, that means the transmission has high miles on it and it's probably close to the end of its life. Finally, engine. It says leave the hood open while you start the car and then listen. He says, does the engine limp? Does it have a little extra vibration? It may need a valve job. And then the final bit of advice from Stick Bogart. He had an article in FHM Magazine on how to avoid a clunker. Upholstery. It says the front seats are often used more. So if somebody reupholstered the front seats and didn't do the back ones, the car may have a lot more miles on it than you've been told. So he's saying you can tell by looking at a vehicle's upholstery if it really is what they claim that it is. I remember when they came out with this thing called Carfax. Remember that? Mm-hmm. And now there's like a history for vehicles. And there are people who have gotten caught because they were trying to pass off a vehicle as something that it really wasn't. They got caught because of that little Carfax thingy. So anyway, we got some tips there from Stick Bogart, which I'd love to keep saying that guy's name. Isn't that a fun name to say?
It is.
Stick Bogart, used car salesman in Phoenix. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you want to buy or sell an RV, go to RVWheelator.com. List your RV for free. Learn more at RVWheelator.com.
An interesting work of art has been defaced, and an artist is so mad, Heidi.
Okay.
You've ever heard of starving artists?
Yes.
And usually they're, broke and they're starving?
Yes.
Well, they tend to get the most prestige. Rick Magnuson went a different direction and actually placed an authentic $100 bill in the center of one of his paintings. Why would he do such a thing? Well, he calls it conceptual artwork. Hanging in an Aspen, Colorado art museum, the piece of work is entitled, I Dare You to Steal This $100.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, who could ignore a challenge like that? After about a month, somebody finally took him up on the challenge, but here's the funniest part. They took the $100 and they left 5 $20 bills in his place.
Oh, funny.
They made change for Rick's painting. Rick is very upset about it. He says, I wanted someone to try to steal it and then catch them. He said, this makes it vague now. It ruined the whole aesthetic for me, and I don't think it's a valuable piece of art anymore because it's been defaced. Well, let me break the news to you, Rick. It was never valuable artwork, and you are not an artist. So there you go. Sorry to be the one to tell you that. I know Mom told you all your whole life how special you are, and you're such a great artist. If you're just taping a $100 bill to a piece of cardboard, you're not an artist. Not at all. All right. Maybe get some oil paints or some, I don't know, colored pencils or something. Coming up, we've got an insane lawsuit to share. That's on the way. Can you sue somebody because you stole from them and it turned out not to be what you thought it was?
I'm sure you can, yes.
Well, before you light that candle, make sure it's a real candle. A cleaning lady in Grand Haven, Michigan, stole what she thought was a candle from a condo.
Oh, we've read this. It was dynamite.
Yeah, it wasn't until she lit it she found out it was a firecracker. It wasn't dynamite, firecracker. As a result of her little mistake, she suffered some minor injuries, but instead of just learning her lesson, she decided to sue. That's right, she's suing the owners of the condo where she stole the candle/firecracker. She claims that they should have put a warning label on the firecracker.
Don't steal this because it's a firecracker?
Apparently.
That's ridiculous.
So when we read a story like this before, was it a firecracker or was it dynamite?
I don't remember. It was.
Okay. I wonder if this is the same.
It's the same thing.
Are you sure?
Yes,
okay.
I'm sure.
Well, you never know, because every once in a while there's a story that I read that you think was the same thing, because she thinks that every day. I think you just have a really good memory. Like, you remember things from before I even read them. That's how good your memory is.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure that's exactly what it is. And I'm sure that's what's happening with every single one of our listeners as well.
Like, deja vu. All right. Have we talked about 8 things you should never say to your boss? Because if we did, you're going to hear that again in a bit.
Do you like fun t-shirts? Our friends at 80s Tees have a bunch of fun designs from the movies and pop culture. This month, we're giving you a chance to win a $25 credit to buy the t-shirt you like, with designs from Star Wars, Superman, Ghostbusters, Deadpool, and hundreds of others. Sign up to win a $25 credit. Register for free right now at winthisonline.com. We will select 2 winners at the end of this month. You could be one of them, but only if you register at winthisonline.com.
Heidi, I have 8 things you should never say to your boss. You ready for this?
Sure.
8 cringe-inducing things you should never, ever, ever say, unless, of course, you're itching for, good old-fashioned firing or something. Number 1, did you hear that gossip about Andy and IT? Scandalous, am I right? So unless the boss, man or lady, happens to be a close BFF of yours for years, water cooler hearsay should never, ever, ever come up. Not just to the boss, I'm saying to anybody. But they say hearsay is one of the biggest reasons people finally get let go. When it's time to let somebody go, they're like, always in everybody's business. Let's just get rid of Heidi. Another thing you should never ever say to the boss: can we talk about that gift subscription to the Jelly of the Month Club? Avoid discussing bonuses or lack thereof. It's just bad form. It's a bonus. Be grateful that you got it, or if you didn't get one, don't be whining that you didn't get one. Just they'll do what they can. But if you bring it up, again, that's one of the reasons that people are let go. They feel like they're ungrateful. Another one, I'm busy. Ask Rita to do it. 4 things that should never come out of your mouth in the presence of an employer is, I can't, I won't, that's impossible, or ask somebody else to do it. Or, even worse, do it yourself. These are things that you should not ever, 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 ever say. But these are things that bosses are saying.
That's common sense.
Here are things that you shouldn't
don't ever say that to your boss.
I would think so. How about, I heard through the grapevine that you have a Match.com profile up. Care to meet some people that I know? I got a really nice, recently divorced neighbor. Don't meddle in your supervisor's romantic life. Next, I am so bored. Don't ever complain about being bored, because if they're saying, well,
if you're bored, then apparently you don't have enough to do. And
happy hour lasted till 2 a.m. for me last night. Can I take off early today?
Oh,
no.
Wow.
Most likely the answer is no. Really, is this the best company? Is this the best the company could do? It doesn't matter if you're referring to new office chairs or whatever it is. Don't complain about the things that the office recently purchased, because that's not nice. And then the last thing on the list here. I watched 9 to 5 the other day, and Horrible Bosses last night. You want to meet in the deserted parking garage after work? Say like 5:15? Yeah, you don't want to do that either. Again, a list of things that you should never, ever, ever say to your boss. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on Memorial Day.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always try to wrap this program up with some good news, Heidi, and I think I got some here.
Oh, good.
15-year-old Irish schoolgirl Emily Duffy. First of all, I got to just say, I love that name. Emily Duffy. Doesn't that sound
cute.
like a character
That's
from
adorable.
A cartoon or something?
Yes.
Well, she created a high-tech sleeping bag for the homeless. Even better, according to ABC News, the bags are now being made by homeless men in Dublin, Ireland. A little workshop there designed to help them get back into the workforce. Now, it all started January 9th of last year when Little Miss Duffy entered the Irish BT Young Scientists and Technology exhibition. There, she presented a waterproof, fireproof sleeping bag and was noticed by the Mendicity Institution. I think I said that right. But it's a homeless charity in Dublin. Mendicity, and if I'm saying that incorrectly, I apologize, manager Charles Richards offered her a deal. Said, we'll set up a workshop where service users will learn how to make their own sleeping bags, and they'll get paid for it. The sleeping bags, now called Duffely bags. There we go, Duffely, because her last name is Duffy.
Sure.
So it's like a duffel
like
bag.
Like a duffel bag, but yeah,
but
okay.
It's Duffely bags.
I got it.
They're being distributed at the Merchants Quay Night Cafe in Dublin, and several were sent for migrants and refugees in northern France. So,
well, that's wonderful.
That is very cool, and I'm going to throw a link to this on our Facebook page, so if you'd like to go check it out. Again, Little Miss Emily Duffy, she's 15, and she's already making an impact on the world by helping homeless. They're, first of all, getting a job to make her sleeping bags, and then they get a sleeping bag to sleep in. How cool is that?
That's so cool.
And it's waterproof, and it's fireproof. I would kind of think that even if you're not homeless, that would be a nice sleeping bag.
Mm-hmm.
I'd take that to go camping. So in case, you get a little too close to the campfire, you don't have to worry. Or if it rains, you don't have to worry about that. It's a good idea. Again, we'll throw a link at facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great Memorial Day. Get out there and celebrate. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday.
Time now for the bonus break. Only available here on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Bonus break is brought to you by WinThisOnline.com, where the winning is just the beginning. You can go there and register to win stuff, and we're giving a bunch away tomorrow because tomorrow is the end of this month, and we had some May giveaways. Now, I can't tell you what we have in June, but I'll say it's going to be awesome. So you can still register for those, too. It's not like I registered in May, so I can't register again. Register every day as much as you want. Share it with your friends. When you share this with your friends, you actually get more credits to register, too. That's a really cool thing. WinThisOnline.com. According to research, in Canada, men are 3 times more likely than women to have seen a doctor in the last year. That's in Canada. Huh. Men are pansies in Canada.
Neither of us ever go to the doctor.
Yeah, I walk it off. Like, what happened to your arm? I don't know. I'm going to walk it off. But it's laying on the ground. I know. It's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. I'll get that later. Hey, Michael Schumann of Indiana used a vacuum attachment as a gun to rob a bank.
Oh, my God.
Now he's serving 20 years behind bars. If you're wondering, yes, vacuum cleaner attachments are considered weapons. Michael pled guilty to armed robbery. So there you go. A California man faces a burglary charge after police found him stuck in a chimney. Matthew Allen told police he fell down the chimney after going onto the roof of the house to look at the stars.
Right, he was.
Yeah, and then he got stuck near the bottom of the chimney. He took his pants off and began waving them around to set off home's motion detectors. Police officers were dispatched to the house twice Saturday morning but saw no signs of an intruder. Neighbors eventually said, hey, we're hearing a lot of noise come from that house. Can you guys figure out what's going on? And it was a dude stuck in the chimney with no pants on. So there you go. Have we talked about SpaceX going to Mars?
I don't know.
I don't know if we have this. I read about this, but I don't know if I read about this and then I just read about it, or if I read about it and shared it with everybody else. So SpaceX plans to land an unmanned spacecraft on Mars as soon as 2018 with a little help from NASA. An extraordinary collaboration between the public and private sectors in an effort to eventually get humans to the red planet. SpaceX made the announcement on Twitter, laying out an ambitious timeline for an incredibly difficult mission. The partnership between SpaceX and NASA has a goal of sending humans to Mars in the 2030s. Would you, Heidi, sign up to go to Mars in 2030?
Not at all. I wouldn't go to Mars.
No. Period. I wouldn't either. I don't, and it's not that I don't think Mars would be, worth going to. It's just that I have no interest to go there.
I'm not leaving this planet.
Yeah,
I'm good here.
I kind of want to stick right around here as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like I don't want anybody to go there. I'm not saying you shouldn't go. If you want to go, you jump on a jet and go, or a rocket or whatever, a big slingshot, whatever they're sending you there on. I just don't see the value in it myself. I'd rather stick a little closer to home.
Absolutely.
There you go. Speaking of traveling, it's Memorial Day, so if you've been traveling this weekend, I hope you had a very safe travels and had a good time. And thank you so much for wrapping things up here on the John and Heidi Show bonus break. It's brought to you by WinThisOnline.com, where the winning is just the beginning. We've got our big 80s Tees giveaway coming up tomorrow, and we've got our big Zubas giveaway coming up tomorrow. And can I tell them what's going to be on there in June? Can I give them a sneak peek?
Sure.
I'll just tell you 3 words. Mall of America. That's all I can say. We'll have more details coming soon. That's your bonus break, brought to you by WinThisOnline.com.